My sisters sabotaged me, they all cut me off like it was my fault. I could really use some advice because I have no clue what to do anymore. I was 21 when my fiancé proposed to me, and back then, I thought he was the best thing that ever happened to me. We had known each other since we were little kids in preschool, our families had always been tight, and he was around our house almost every day for dinner, just like I was at his. He was an only child, but I had 2 older sisters, which mattered a lot because he got close to them too, especially the middle one. We all grew up side by side, and when we started dating officially, it felt like both families went into celebration mode that lasted weeks. He helped me through a lot, especially with my anxiety, and even when I gained some weight and my mom said he would leave me, he stood up for me and told her that he loved me no matter what, and that to him, I was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. We were only engaged for half a year when everything fell apart. My middle sister, Nikki, was always cold, never affectionate, and never really liked me much, even though I still loved her because she was blood. She only ever opened up to my fiancé, saying she thought of him like a brother. He had helped her through rough stuff, like her drug problems and getting in trouble with the law. She and I didn't click, but she came to me one day and said she wanted to go out clubbing together since we had never done anything like that before and she felt guilty about how distant she had been. I figured maybe she was trying to change, so I said yes. I am not a clubbing kind of person, but after a few drinks I started to loosen up and tried to enjoy the night. Everything was going fine until Nikki noticed a guy across the club and said she wanted to hook up with him. She walked over, but when she came back, she looked angry. I asked what happened, and she told me the guy was more interested in me than in her. I tried to cheer her up and told her she was gorgeous and there were tons of guys who would be lucky to have her, but she just stayed quiet. Then she said she needed to use the restroom and we could leave afterward. I waited for a long time, sipping more drinks, and started to feel dizzy and off. I figured she must have gone without me, so I decided to head out. On the way out, I ran into one of Nikki's old flings, a guy she used to date. He asked if I needed help getting to my car, and I told him I was taking a taxi. He said he was heading out too and offered to share one. I said that was fine, and we got in the first cab we saw. I was trying to get my phone out of my purse, but everything got blurry and the next thing I knew, I blacked out. I woke up on some hard sofa, my head splitting, and realized I was in that guy's house. My phone was on the table but dead. He gave me water and pills and said I had passed out in the taxi, and since he didn't know where I lived, he brought me to his place and let me sleep it off. I said I needed to go home because my fiancé would be freaking out. He called a cab, and I left. When I got home, everyone was there, my parents, Nikki, my fiancé, and even his folks. I thought they were all worried, but as soon as I walked in, my fiancé asked how I could do this to him. I tried to explain, told them my phone died, but he started shouting that I had cheated. I was confused and tried to tell them what really happened, but nobody would let me finish. Nikki jumped in, acting all heartbroken, saying I had been flirting with every guy in the club and then left with her friend. She showed a photo of us walking out with his hand on my back, which looked bad, but I had no clue his hand was even there, I was so drunk. I asked her to call him so he could clear it up, but he told a whole different story, said I begged him to go back to his place and that we hooked up several times. I snapped. I lost it. I screamed at Nikki because I knew she planned the whole thing to ruin me. I begged my fiancé to believe me, but he just shook his head and walked out. After everyone left, my mom slapped me across the face and told me to leave. I grabbed what I could and stayed with a friend. I spent the next few days calling my fiancé, crying, sending messages, hoping he would believe me. He never answered. Then my mom texted and told me she was kicking me out for good and wrote a bunch of hateful things I cannot even repeat. She tossed out all my stuff. Nobody in my family took me in. They all believed Nikki and stood by her and my ex. In less than 2 days, I lost everything, my relationship, my home, my family. I tried to fix things for weeks. The last straw came at Christmas. I was couch hopping by then, but I went to my mom's house to try and talk. No one answered the door. Later that day, a friend called and said my family posted photos online from a Christmas party out of state. Everyone was there, my sisters, my parents, my grandparents, my ex, and his family, and they were all smiling like nothing had happened. I cried for days and then blocked them all. I gave the engagement ring back. A friend knew someone a few hours away who ran a restaurant and had a place to stay above it, cheap rent. I moved there, started over, worked long shifts, saved up, and got out of that tiny place. Now I rent a nicer condo and I am an assistant manager. I have not heard a word from anyone in 2 years. That is, until my ex-fiancé showed up at my door. I was shocked, I will not lie. A million feelings came back, and part of me wanted to hug him, but I remembered the hell I went through and tried to slam the door. He held it open and begged to explain. He said Nikki got married and finally admitted she lied about that night, said she made it all up and felt guilty now that she had found real love. I asked how he found me, and he said my friend told him. Turns out my whole family has been trying to reach out, wanting to reconnect. I told him I needed time to think about whether I even wanted him back in my life. He left, and since then, I have been a wreck. I cannot forgive Nikki, I do not care what she says now. But the hardest part is figuring out what to do with the rest of them. They did not know she was lying, but they never gave me a chance either. They cut me off and left me out in the cold without hearing me out. I honestly do not know if they deserve forgiveness. If you have any advice, I would appreciate it, because I am lost. My family and the man I love shut me out completely after my sister turned them against me. Last time I shared this, my ex-fiancé had just come by after 2 years, telling me my family wanted to talk after my sister set me up to look like I cheated, and now I have an update, so here goes. I never ended up calling my ex back, I had no idea what to say or even how to feel, but a little while later my phone started buzzing, and I figured he must have given my number to my parents, because suddenly I was getting messages from them asking to meet. I did not answer, thought maybe I would set up a video call or something, but before I could figure that out, someone knocked on my door, and it was my dad, just standing there, and the second I saw him I felt sick to my stomach and ended up throwing up right there in front of him, and he did not say a word, just helped clean up like he used to when I was a kid. Then we sat down and the smell of his cologne hit me and it brought back so many memories I started crying right then and there. He went in for a hug but I pushed him away and asked him what the hell he was doing there. He sat down and said he and my mom were getting a divorce. He said after I left he kept trying to convince her to reach out but she would not budge. She told him I was acting dramatic and if I wanted to walk out after what I did then I could go do it alone. I asked how long it took them to even notice I was gone and he said after New Year's they were planning to invite me over. And when they called my friend she told them I had left and she did not know where I went. I asked him why no one cared to hear my side before tossing me out like garbage and he broke down crying. Said he never thought things would get that bad and he regrets every bit of it. I brought up how when Nikki was caught using drugs and dropped out of school they planned a whole vacation to help her recover, and even when she spiraled into drinking they still kept defending her over and over. He said he did not know my mom had kicked me out for good, said she told him it would only be for a couple of days and that I could come home after Christmas, but instead she packed up and went out of state without even telling him. I said she threw out all my stuff. He said that was not true and all my things were still at the house. She lied about it. I asked about Nikki and he told me she is dead to him now. He blocked her and told my mom he wants no contact, but my mom keeps begging him to forgive Nikki, says she is not well and she cannot bear losing 2 daughters. But he shut them both out and pressured my ex until he finally gave in and told him where I was. I told him he better never show up unannounced again unless I say it is okay and he agreed. He asked what happens now and I told him I had no idea, but he hurt me bad and I needed him to hear that, so I let it all out. Told him how much pain they caused, how hard it was seeing them smiling in family photos like I never existed, how I cried for days on someone else's couch trying to figure out how to stay afloat. He cried too and it felt good to finally get it off my chest. He offered to help me move into a better place and even offered to get me a new job but I told him no. I am staying where I am because my boss took a chance on me and I owe him everything. I told my dad I might be open to rebuilding something but it has to be slow and only on my terms and that I may never be able to trust him again. And he said he would accept whatever I decided as long as it meant I was okay. I asked him why Nikki did what she did and if she ever explained herself, and he told me she said she thought my ex was too good for me, said she loved him like a brother and thought he deserved better, so she planned the whole thing, asked her friend to help walk me out so it would look like something was going on, and told him to bring me back to his place so she could get pictures. Nothing physical happened. I passed out on his sofa and he stayed up playing video games the entire night, which he has proof of. My dad said he wanted to pick up my old stuff and bring it to me but I said no, I do not want anything from that house. I asked about Nikki's husband and he said my mom has been keeping quiet about it but gave me his number. I sat there for a while staring at it, then finally called him. I was sweating and my hands were shaking. I just blurted everything out, which I regret now because I should have given him a second to process. He sounded shocked at first, so I explained again and even went into the stuff about her addictions. I expected him to yell at me or defend her, but instead he just let out a long sigh, and turns out he already had doubts. Apparently she has been lying to his sister and caused problems between them, big ones. His sister did not even show up to their wedding. I told him he should talk to his sister because Nikki has always been the issue. We chatted for a bit longer and then he hung up. I do not know what he will do, but I hope he gets away from her. He seemed like a decent guy and does not deserve what she is putting him through. Anyway, I have decided to give my dad a shot at making things right. For once he is not letting my mom control everything, and the fact that he is divorcing her and cutting Nikki off says a lot. I do not see myself ever talking to my mom again, not after she tried to pretend like Nikki was a victim too. I am done with her lies. If she ever reaches out I will decide then, but for now I want nothing to do with her. As for my ex, I have not seen him yet. My dad said he wanted to come together with him to talk, but my dad told him it would overwhelm me and that I should see them separately. He also told me that my ex was arrested for attacking the friend who lied about me, but charges got dropped. When I talk to him I will let you all know how it goes. Thanks for letting me get this off my chest. I have been carrying it for far too long.